Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Inner City Wake Up Call. I'm your host, Amin, coming from a remote site this morning, not out the cave, but we'll be back in the cave tomorrow morning. I said August the 6th we would come back to the air officially, so I'm officially coming back this morning. I want to thank you all that have been patient with us during this break. Yesterday, I went to court yesterday on August the 5th, which was my birthday. I want to thank everyone for the birthday wishes and thank you so much for all the love you showed me yesterday. I went to court yesterday to basically free up No Covers, and No Covers is now a free entity where that what we represent No Covers, and that anyone who joins on the No Covers now knows that they're joining on to a movement and a network that is free and independent. And we took care of some other paperwork yesterday as well to make us an incorporation so that we can do business full strive. We're looking for writers, we're looking for business people to join because we have to create a movement of freedom. You all that have been following No Covers for a time and now know that I talk about freedom a lot. This movement is designed to make us free. I've studied this movement. I've studied getting free for some 53 years now. In my adult life, I've joined a lot of movements, a lot of missions. I've been in a lot of different programs. And all of them have something similar. But sometimes we can go too far left and we can go too far right. But I think I found the middle ground. I think I found the way that we can become free and independent. And it's written in our lessons. It's written in our scriptures. It's written in all the books from the scholars before me. So I've created nothing new. I've just taken a little bit from everybody and put it into one pot. I've taken a little bit from my background as Jehovah's Witnesses. I've taken a little bit from my friend, Mr. Roberts, who was a Seventh-day Adventist. I've taken a little bit from Malcolm Martin, and taken a little bit from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, Minister Farrakhan. I've taken a little bit from Marcus Garvey, taken some of the Panther Party movement, taking some of the local movement, even taking some from Barack Obama. So you have to take a little bit from everybody to create your own piece of pie. And we talk about in that pie theory. In saying that, I want to talk very briefly this morning in the few minutes I have. I'm going to keep these tapes short and brief from now on. I want to talk about this case that's been hitting the news over the last week, Korryn Gaines, and what seems to be the sovereignty movement. What upsets me most about what I'm seeing with Korryn Gaines, I took some liberty this morning. We've got Michael Johnson, the shooter that was in Dallas. We have the Baton Rouge shooter that came and shot the officers. And now we have Korryn Gaines, who was stopped and then later got into an altercation and had a gun and was shot in the altercation with the police. These are young people. These are young people that have been not indoctrinated, but have studied many of the things that I have studied and many of the things that other brothers and myself have studied over the years, and they've come up with their own conclusion. I strongly feel that they have come up with a wrong conclusion. Not that their information is wrong, but their way of carrying out the information that they have received is wrong. And what upsets me is that many sit back and watch what is going on with these young people. Sit back and see the actions of these young people, but don't come vocally, knowing the source from where they got the information. Don't come out vocally and say, "Hold, stop, young." That's not the way to carry out that information. You have the same information. Many of us have been in sovereign movements. Many of us have been into movements that were considered anti-government. And many of us today are still being followed today because we're considered anti-government. But we have gotten smarter and learned how to play the game a different way. And what we're not doing is telling these young people, whoa. See, as much as we dislike America, as much as we don't agree with some of the systems of America, we still live here. And we still pay taxes here. And our ancestors built this country. What we don't tell these young people today, when we explain these theories to them, these mental ways of thinking, this new process, this new thought, this high wisdom, high level of learning. We don't give them all the instructions in the kit, and then they go off and kill themselves. I've always talked about these two roads that are now colliding in America, as you see, because what you see in these cases are division between those two roads. You have the integrationists and the separatists. You have those who want to integrate into mainstream America, and I've talked about this over and over and over again. We have those that want to separate. Where do the two roads intersect, and where do they divide? They divide in these cases. In these cases, when the person goes to the extreme of separatism, the extreme of being separate from America, to say, you know what, if I'm going to be separate, I'm going to be like Nat Turner. See, Nat Turner left the plantation, but he was dead the night he left. Why? Because he didn't have no army with him. When you watch the movie next month, and you see the story of Nat Turner, from the day Nat Turner left the plantation, he was a dead man. Because the only thing Nat Turner really had was Nat. At the end of the day, when the guns turned on him, at the end of the day, when he got to the end of the line, the only thing Nat had was Nat and his belief in what he believed in. He didn't have an army. And all of us that talk and talk and talk this rhetoric, better understand when we talk this rhetoric to these young people, we better let them know you don't have no army. You don't control no planes, you don't control no Air Force, you don't control no military. So when you decide that you big bad Willie and you want to step up and come against this country with arms, understand they got more arms than you. This is the arm. This is what the mind is. This is the weapon that you have. Use your brain. How do you want to be separate? Separate. Yes, but use common sense. You first have to get you some money to be independent. You first have to find your own way to build an independent nation. Everyone's doing it. Mexicans are building an independent nation. Jews have been done it. Italians do it. Everyone come into this country, they come in and they stay to themselves and they build it. The Koreans, look at all the nail shops, the chops, the hair stores in your area. They're selling to us. Feast off blacks. Blacks have yet to build them an economic base. So all of this other stuff, you talk about sovereignty movement and going back to Africa, you can tear all this stuff up and throw it out the window unless you build yourself first an economic base. This is what we got to teach the young people. Yes, I want to separate. Make no doubt about it. I don't like the American system and the way it's set up because I think it's always set up for my failure because it's set up based on economics. So at the end of the day, they're going to let a few of us in, but the majority of us are going to be left out unless we have a strong economic base. We have a strong economic base. Then we can move into, I've always said, this was what I was told when I was coming into the movement years ago. We didn't integrate on Wall Street. We integrated on the toilet paper, to the toilet seat next to white folks. We integrated to go eat food at a lunch counter. We integrated to go sit beside them in schools and miseducate us. But we didn't integrate into Wall Street. We didn't integrate up the Saks and Fifth Avenue. We didn't integrate into the economic structure of this country. Until we integrate into that structure, all this stuff we talking is rhetoric. Because it don't make a hill of beans. What you're going to do is run up to more guns than you got. You got one, they got 50. You got a tank, you got a car, they got a tank. You got a Hoover plane. You got a hoverboard. They got planes. That's what you're going to run up into. But dollar for dollar, these here, dollar for dollar. When you dollar for dollar, these here, these dollar for dollar. When you go dollar for dollar, if you got 100 of these and they got 100, now we can play ball. But if you ain't got none of these, we can't play ball with them. So all that stuff we talking is rhetoric. And I have to say, I've been responsible for some of that rhetoric because I've talked some of it for years too, until I got wise and learned that. And these examples of these young people that are taking the same, I look at them and I see myself. I see myself at 23. I see myself at 28. All these movements I done been in, marches I done been in. Yet we still have nothing. We don't even have a hospital to take our children if we get sick. We don't have a laundromat to wash our clothes in, other than the ones in our home. No. We have to take care of our communities and first build a strong economic base. So Black lives do matter. If Black lives matter, get your money together and get with no covers. Because this year, it's all about building a new system, about building a base of development. And then from there, we can start educating our own, teach our own children, and we can get rid of all this rhetoric. Peace and blessings. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning.